My name is Mark Reynolds. I'm 52 years old, and on the night of March 12th, 2024, my heart stopped, right behind the pulpit where I had preached for nearly 2 decades. For 18 years, I gave everything I had to Riverstone Chapel. 3 Sunday services, midweek Bible studies, countless hospital visits, emergency counseling sessions, weddings, funerals, you name it. Ministry wasn't just my job, it was my life. My wife, Rachel, and I raised our kids in that old white parsonage next door. Our memories were carved into the walls of that church. I thought I knew God. I thought I had Him figured out. That night, I'd just finished a message titled, "Standing Firm in Divided Times." My closing line: even when the world shakes, our faith must stand strong. And as I bowed my head to lead the final prayer, it hit me. A crushing tightness gripped my chest. I tried to ignore it, power through like I always did. I whispered the final "Amen," but my legs buckled beneath me. A sharp pain shot through my left arm, and suddenly, everything went dark. My vision tunneled, my ears stopped working. Then silence. Not quiet, not stillness. I mean absolute silence. No breath, no beat, no body. But I wasn't afraid. I wasn't in pain anymore. In fact, I felt free. Like all the weight of this life had slipped off me. I was floating upward. I looked down and saw my own body crumpled behind the pulpit. Rachel was screaming. Deacon Mike was shouting orders, pressing down on my chest. People were crying, panicked. But I wasn't part of that anymore. I just watched, weightless, peaceful. Then I heard my name. Mark. Not in my ears, but deep inside, like someone was speaking to the core of me. I turned toward the voice, and there He was, Jesus. No fanfare, no lightning bolts, just a radiant presence, gentle, strong, warm. When He looked into my eyes, it was like He looked straight through me, and I shattered. When Jesus said my name, it wasn't just sound, it was truth. Mark. Somehow, it carried more weight than I'd ever heard in my own name before, like it had never been spoken fully until it came from His mouth. I turned toward Him, and I couldn't look away. There was no judgment in His eyes, but there was nothing hidden either. He saw me, all of me. Every sermon I'd preached with pride tucked beneath Scripture. Every sharp word I justified in the name of truth. Every time I'd quietly dismissed someone because they didn't vote like me, or think like me, or believe like me. He saw it all. And yet, He smiled. I started to speak, to explain, to apologize, but nothing came out. Just tears. I was crying, but I didn't have a body. Somehow, my soul wept. He stepped closer, placed His hand on my shoulder, and said, "Walk with me." Only, we didn't walk. We moved, together, across what looked like clouds, but felt more solid than earth. The air shimmered around us in colors I'd never seen before, gold that breathed, blue that hummed like music. And there was peace, not the kind we chase down here. I mean real peace. The kind that fills up all the hollow places you didn't even know were empty. "You've been faithful, Mark," Jesus said. "You've honored me in your service. But there are things my people don't understand, things I want you to see." Before I could even ask, the world below unfolded like a living map. The entire United States stretched out beneath us. Cities and towns, farmland and skyscrapers. But what I saw wasn't buildings, it was hearts. Somehow I could feel them. The bitterness, the fear, the division like thick fog hanging over the nation, even among believers, especially among believers. "What do you see, Mark?" He asked. And without hesitation, I answered, "Division, Lord. So much division. He nodded, not angry, not surprised, just heartbroken. "Yes," he said. "And now, I'm going to show you why." As soon as Jesus spoke, the world below melted away. The cities, the noise, the weight of division, it all faded like smoke in the wind. And suddenly, we were standing in a place that defied explanation. It looked like a library, but not one built by human hands. There were no books, only shelves stretching endlessly in every direction, reaching up into a glowing mist. Each shelf was lined with radiant scrolls, pulsing gently, as if they were alive. Jesus turned to me. "These are the prayers of my people." Before I could respond, I began to hear them. Not just read or imagine them, but truly hear them. Thousands of voices layered over one another, like a divine harmony, and a desperate cry all at once. "Lord, let the conservatives win so righteousness can prevail. Father, give the liberals power to bring justice and compassion." Each scroll shimmered as the voices rang out, some pleading, some demanding, some certain they knew exactly what God should do. And I felt the weight behind every word, the fear, the anger, the certainty that God was surely on their side. Jesus reached for one scroll. As he held it, the glow intensified. "Listen to this one, Mark." The voice was different, softer, shaky, honest. "God, I don't know what to think anymore. I just want to love people the way you do. Help me see past the noise. Help me be your hands, your heart." The scroll blazed in his hands. Light poured from it like it was burning with heaven itself. "This," Jesus said, "is the kind of prayer that moves my heart." I couldn't speak. I was a pastor. I had led prayers like those first ones, fervent, confident, even political. But this one was surrender, and it undid me. "Lord," I finally asked, "don't you care about the issues? About abortion? About justice? About the poor? Freedom?" Jesus turned toward me, eyes burning, not with rage, but with something fiercer. "I care deeply, Mark, for every life, born and unborn, for the prisoner, the refugee, the widow, the forgotten. But my people have forgotten something too." And as his hand lifted again, the room dissolved into light. What he showed me next would tear me apart. The light gave way to a narrow street, quiet, still, like a photograph frozen in time. On either side stood two churches. One flew a massive American flag and a bright red "Make America Great Again" banner. The other was draped in rainbow flags, its windows lined with signs reading "Justice for All" and "Love Wins." "They both worship me," Jesus said softly. "But look closer." He motioned toward the first church. In an instant, my vision pierced the walls. I didn't see pews or bulletins. I saw hearts. Families clutching Bibles, hands lifted in reverent prayer. Tears fell as they pleaded for the unborn, for religious liberty, for a country they felt was slipping from God. I felt their conviction and their fear. Then Jesus turned me to the other church, and again I saw past the walls. I saw passion burning for the marginalized, people weeping over injustice, reaching out to the homeless, defending the forgotten. I felt their compassion and their anger. "They're both right," I whispered, "and both lost in something bigger than they see." Jesus nodded. "Each holds a piece of my heart, but neither sees the whole." His voice trembled, not with wrath, but with grief. "They've allowed politics to divide what I died to unite." He placed a hand on my shoulder, and suddenly, I felt it, his heartbreak, not a passing sorrow, I'm talking soul-deep pain, like the ache of a father watching his children tear each other apart. I could barely breathe under the weight of it. He showed me not just policies or protests, but people. A conservative grandmother praying every morning for unborn children, and a progressive college student volunteering at a homeless shelter, spending her last dollar on someone else's meal. Both sincere, both aching, both believing they had to fight each other. My kingdom, Jesus said, is not of this world. Yet my people keep trying to squeeze it into their platforms. They've made me a mascot for political tribes I never endorsed. Then he looked into my eyes, deep, unwavering. Republicans need me. Democrats need me. The broken, the proud, the angry, the forgotten. They all need the same thing, grace. And just when I thought I couldn't carry more, he said, "There's still more I need you to see." We moved again, gliding as if on breath itself, until we entered a chamber that looked almost familiar. Another vast library, yet unlike the one before. This one felt heavier, not darker, but weightier, like every scroll here carried something urgent. "These are more prayers," Jesus said, "but listen with your heart, not your ears." Scroll after scroll, he unrolled them. The voices came alive again. "Lord, let the Republicans win, protect our rights, our freedom. God, give the Democrats victory, defend the poor, the voiceless." I could feel the tension behind every word. They weren't just political, they were desperate. These weren't prayers, they were spiritual ultimatums. Bargains made in fear, not faith. Then Jesus lifted a scroll glowing more brightly than all the others. He opened it slowly, reverently. And I heard a voice unlike the rest, small, broken, sincere. "Father, I'm tired. I don't know who's right anymore. I just want to love like you love. Help me see people, not sides. Help me be kind, even when I don't understand." I felt something move inside me, like a crack in stone letting in light. That prayer, it wasn't confident, it wasn't clever, it was surrendered. Jesus held the scroll out to me. "This," he said, "is what heaven listens for." I took it in my hands, and it pulsed like it was alive, like it breathed the same spirit that raised Christ from the grave. It wasn't about votes. It wasn't about being right. It was about becoming love. "But Lord," I said, still wrestling, "you do care about the issues, don't you? The unborn, the oppressed, the broken systems." He nodded with a fierceness I'll never forget. "I care about every single life, from the womb to the hospice bed. I care about justice and mercy, truth and freedom. But hear me, Mark. My kingdom cannot be legislated. It must be lived." He stepped closer, eyes filled with fire and tenderness. "My people keep asking me to choose sides, but I came to tear down walls." That truth hit me like a wave. I had built so many walls, in sermons, in assumptions, in silence. But now, Jesus was handing me a mission, and it would break me before it could rebuild me. Without another word, Jesus touched my shoulder. In an instant, the glowing scrolls, the holy hush, the weight of the library, all vanished. Now, we stood before those two churches again, the same ones from earlier. The flags, the signs, the slogans, they were still there. But this time, I saw something deeper, something I hadn't noticed before. Pain. Not physical pain, but spiritual exhaustion. Inside both buildings, I saw people, faithful people, who were burned out, tired from fighting, tired from shouting, tired from trying to win battles that never seemed to end. The conservative church wept for their nation. The progressive church wept for their neighbors. Both loved, but both had turned their love into a weapon. Jesus looked at me with eyes full of sorrow. They both say they follow me, but look again. He opened my vision wider, like he peeled back the surface of things. I saw division like a disease, spreading quietly. I saw arguments over masks and vaccines. I saw friendships destroyed by Facebook posts. I saw pastors pushed out of their pulpits because they refused to preach a party line. I saw Christians celebrating when their enemies, yes, even fellow believers, fell. And it broke me. They think they're standing for truth, Jesus said softly, but they've forgotten love. Then came the words that hit me like thunder rolling through my soul. They've made being right more important than being righteous. I dropped to my knees. Every moment I'd valued certainty over humility. Every conversation where I listened only to respond. Every time I let fear speak louder than grace. It all came crashing down. Lord, I cried, what do I do with this? What do I say to them? Jesus knelt beside me. His hand rested over my heart, and I felt a power, like fire, but pure. Tell them to love beyond the lines, he said. Tell them their neighbor is not defined by a party, but by my image. Tell them that prayer, compassion, and the gospel are more powerful than any vote. He stood, eyes blazing like morning sunlight. Remind them, my kingdom isn't built on elections. It's built on transformed hearts. The light around us shifted again. One moment I was still kneeling, trembling in the weight of his words. The next, I was standing beside him in a garden more beautiful than anything I'd ever seen. Flowers shimmered with color and song. The very air seemed to breathe. It was peace, pure, untouched peace. But Jesus' face had changed, softer now, sadder. Mark, he said, voice gentle, what I show you next will break your heart. The garden faded. In its place, I saw churches, hundreds, maybe thousands, real congregations across America, and within them, scenes unfolded like pages turning in a book I didn't want to read. I saw believers screaming at each other over politics. I saw pastors bullied for refusing to align with party lines. I saw churches split over masks, vaccines, Supreme Court rulings. I saw joy in some believers when their ideological enemies lost their jobs or their lives. I watched as compassion died on the altar of certainty. They forgot the greatest commandment, Jesus whispered. To love one another, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, always. Tears poured from my soul. What do I do, Lord? I asked. How can I go back and explain this? Jesus turned to me. His hand touched my chest, and I felt something surge through me. Light, warmth, conviction. A burden that felt like purpose. Tell them, he said, to see people, not sides, to speak truth in love, to hold convictions in humility. Tell them their neighbor isn't their enemy. The ballot is not their weapon. Love is. Grace is. The cross is. I shook with the weight of it. But they won't listen. Some will hate me for this. He nodded. Some will, but speak it anyway. You weren't sent to win arguments. You were sent to bear witness. He looked into me one last time. In heaven, Mark, there are no Republicans, no Democrats, no independents. There are only the redeemed, united, not by politics, but by my blood. And with that, the light consumed everything. I gasped. My chest heaved. Hospital lights above me. A doctor shouting, "He's back! We've got him back!" I had been dead for 19 minutes, but I didn't return the same. I came back with a mission, to remind the church, remind every believer, that we are citizens of heaven first. And love, Love is our highest calling.